y'all. My name is Jasmine Jones, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. And this is a black girl. Black girl therapist in the wild. And this is a show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. And today we are reviewing that good old holiday classic, Holiday Heart from circa 2000, the year 2000 that is. And we are sipping on some Simply cranberry juice and vodka. Yes, how y'all doing? So, I decided to do this movie because I was looking for a holiday movie for black people. And I already did Soul Food. And Holiday Heart is just memed throughout time and beyond, because Alfre Woodard's just very realistic portrayal of somebody who is addicted to crack cocaine. And, I watched this movie and I was just like, this is a good movie. Especially for the time that it was made in. This was around the time Cisco from Drew Hill. I'm going to put pictures up for the little children, people that don't know who Drew Hill or Cisco is. I just feel bad for you. Parents, why are you not playing the music of our childhood to your children? Because I swear these children didn't know who Missy Elliott was when she started singing with Lizzo or whatever. You know what I mean? This is not okay. I knew who the Temptations were at the age of 5 because my mom always played them at home. I feel like we all need to be playing the music of our childhood so we can continue passing on these artists. So I'll put up a picture of Cisco from Drew Hill for the children whose parents do not play the music of their childhood for them. Right. How are you just not going to know the legend Missy Elliott and just think she's a new artist or something? So anyways, this was around the time that, Cisco lost his fame because this was the era, a few years later, I believe, because he came out as a bisexual. But to have this movie so greatly detail the struggles of a new widower who's also gay and also does drag, trying to just figure out his life after the love of his life has died. And for Ving Rhames, it's V with the Ving, if y'all watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Vink's the name, Dr. Vink. With a V.
I thought it was B with a B, but it's not, it's V, Ving Rhames. To have him play this part, it was heartfelt. It was just the way that, even in the intimate moments, but when people were talking to each other, the way they would gently caress each other's faces or comfort each other through touch, even a straight man experiencing the same kind of intimacy with a gay man through a conversation where they don't make each other feel bad around each other, and there was some homophobic stuff in there that was never really apologized. I guess it kind of was, but still. It was still just kind of off-putting, but then the story would develop and you would see how people can come around and love each other and be a family. And it's a magical family movie, but it's also very, very sad. And I think that people remember this movie as being funny because we meme this all over the internet. We meme this movie all over the internet because Alfre Woodard was she was the crackiest of crackheads. She just embodied le crack. She said, I am le crack is me. And she did that. She played that part. And because she played that part, there are some memeable, funny moments where it's just oh, girl. Yes. I tried not to laugh, okay? It's just the way she played it, the way she was looking, and her eyes was all big, and her facial expressions were just extra, and you were just wow, what kind of practice, what did she do to get into character? Because but I think we just, this has been marked as a funny movie, when it's really sad. It's beautiful, poignant, and sad. And it's just okay. And because Ving Rhames was gay, and it was just how Ving Rhames looked, this broad-shouldered, tallish black man, and you didn't expect that shit. And for him to play it so realistically of what a gay man going through this situation would experience, is just I think people thought it funny back then because we weren't ready for, so I think that's why this movie doesn't get as much acclaim as it deserves, because it's a good ass fucking movie and it's unexpected. It really is. I wouldn't watch when I first watched it. I was a kid and I was just like, oh look, he's gay and the mom's a crackhead, and this is something to watch. I didn't get into it that much. It was just like one of them black movies that you throw on because it's Christmas. And you laugh at Alfred Woodard when she come out with that fucking bike. I got the bike. Shut up. It's not funny because it's not funny. This is not a funny movie. It's just the way she played that fucking part. This woman's a good actress, because I was just like, them like those people that film those crackheads that will perform for them. The crackhead that sings really good, or the crackhead that just, and it's like wrong because these people are suffering from an addiction, and you're filming them and you're giving them money, but you're laughing at them. That's how she played the part, and it was just like, is it okay to laugh if it's not a real addict? I don't know. It's a different day. I just realized that my microphone came unplugged from my camera as I was recording. So 30 minutes of my video is silence with me gesturing. So we're just going to insert here. I'm not changing my clothes. I'm not going to pretend it's the same night. We're not doing that. We're not going to lie. And I don't feel like it because I just came back from the Korean spa and those clothes are dirty. And I feel clean and fresh. So we're drinking the same thing. We're talking about the same movie. And eventually we're going to skip back to the original recording where the microphone got replugged back in, because my camera finally told me that the microphone was unplugged at some point. And for some reason, I thought it was just at that point. Like as soon as it came unplugged, like it was warned me. No, 30 minutes. Yes, God. So let's get into this movie. So we have Ving Rhames, and the beginning of the movie, he is just grieving the loss of his husband. We're going to call him husband because I feel like if they could have gotten married, they would. They had that type of relationship. It was loving. It was beautiful. It was fruitful. And then life came and took away his hubby, and it was horrible. And he's just like, they just show like this man is grieving. He's going through the stages of grief. He wants to leave everything and go to Paris because that was the plan, to go to Paris with his partner and be together in the city of love and all those amazing things. So he's planning to go to Paris by himself and fulfill the dream him and his partner had. We show him, just these kind of flashbacks to him and his partner having like loving times together. And then him going to his partner's funeral and stuff like that. And I just feel like, that it's not that I thought it was bad that he went to his partner's funeral. I just felt bad that he had to experience that from the people there and be dragged out as he was singing the song that his partner requested him to sing at his funeral. Because, his partner's a cop. So assuming that, when you have a job where you could potentially die easily, then most people, you plan ahead for your death. And maybe they were talking about it one night as they were snuggled up together. When I die, I want you to sing our song at my funeral, and it won't even matter anymore if people know that I'm gay or whatever. And so Ving Rhames goes, and Holiday goes, and he sings a song in full drag at the funeral, crying and sobbing. And they just come and drag him out. Like they just say enough is enough. And see, that's why I think this movie went down in the annals of comedy, because we were laughing at gay people back then and their hijinks. We felt like they were hijinks or something because homophobia was stronger back then than it is now, And so that's why I feel like this movie hasn't been taken seriously, because it was just ahead of its time. This was a good ass movie. So we see him being dragged out, and then he's a very churchy person, very, loves the Lord, sings in the church, plays the piano in the church. He's just, very churchy, into God and stuff like that. And, so even with that experience, he didn't let go of God. So that was nice. And, we all have to come to our own spirituality in our own way. So, some people aren't so traumatized by the church that they completely throw away God. And, that's cool. Like, no judgment. You have to come to your spirituality or lack thereof in your own way. So anyways, we see Nikki, the little girl, watching him as he is playing the piano at the church. I guess they all live in the same area, neighborhood, because they keep seeing each other and running into each other before they actually meet. And, then we go to, like, Ving Rhames is planning to leave. He's talking to his friend Blue, who's also a drag queen at the club. They're on the curb. I guess their show is over for the day. And, Ving Rhames is talking about how he's leaving to Paris, and Blue's hyping him up. And then all of a sudden, Nikki runs out this building screaming and yelling about her mom is being beaten by this man. So apparently, Wanda, Alfre Woodard's character, is, she was sober. Not sober. She wasn't an addict all the way up until Nikki was 6. So Nikki tells this story later on in the movie. And she wasn't an addict until Nikki was about 6 years old. And then she met this man who, was an addict or using drugs, and he got her to use drugs. And so, so she had a case of pick-me-ism, psychologically we would say codependency and people-pleasing ism, but it's directed mainly at men. This is my thing that I'm saying. It's not, I call it pick-me-ism. So she already had a quiet addiction. Who knows what trauma she's experienced from men in her life. And so this man, very easily talked her into doing drugs. Nikki's saying that, from then on, they haven't had a home, and her mom would steal from her and do all these things and blah, blah, blah. And so, Holiday comes and he saves Wanda and brings them both back to his little duplex that he had bought with him and his partner, because they bought a little duplex apartment building, and they were going to pretend that the partner lived in the other apartment and he lived in that apartment, and they were separate and in the closet and all this other stuff. But then they decided not to. But then he passed. So then his partner passed, and so he brings Wanda and Nikki to the duplex to live there for however much they can pay, because he has experienced trauma in his past. He's telling Wanda at some point during the movie that he's experienced trauma in his past, and his mother was being beaten and abused by a man, and he got tired of seeing his mother getting beaten and abused by a man, and so he killed that man. And then at 16 years old, he ended up in adult prison where he was sexually abused and assaulted by various men. Horrible hell. It sounded like hell. And anything that has to do with sexual abuse just sounds like hell, because that's your body being invaded, and it's like, how do you process that as a child, especially? And so, it sounds like hell on earth. And so the fact that he came out of that still a decent human being that wants to help and care for people, it's just an amazing, beautiful, marvelous thing. And so he comes out of that wanting to help people. And, in this situation, I was just thinking, like, maybe, the fixing and the people pleasing isn't always bad. Maybe it's more so that it depends on who's taking advantage of you and stuff like that, if they're taking advantage of it. So, and there's a child involved. Like, he can't just lead his child out to the streets. Like, he wants to help the child in particular because the child reminds him of himself when he was a kid and had to be protecting his mom and all this other stuff. So he takes them in, and Wanda just flourishes. Like, Holiday helps her find a job at a little store, and he starts bringing Wanda and Nikki to church, and Wanda and Nikki just is decorating their apartment, and like, Wanda's an artist. She painted the whole room like this superhero motif where her and Nikki are on the wall, and she painted a mural of her and Nikki, and it's Nikita, I think it's Nikita and Wandisha, and they're the superheroes. They're warrior women, and that's what they call themselves. And I'm just like, why you give us this whole arc of her being a decent fucking person? This movie is before its time. Like, who does that? Who shows this a black woman going through struggles and trials and tribulations and shit like this, and showing that they're people, they're humans, they're human beings. Like, who shows this a gay man? And I know that Ving Rhames isn't an actual gay man. Who knows if he's bi or not? But from what I've seen, he's not an actual gay man. But he played this fucking part for the year 2000, and to be able to act like a regular fucking person instead of a caricature of what people think a gay man is, it was magical. I loved it. It was wonderful. And so, she just is like a beautiful person. She's just this wonderful mom, and she cares about her daughter. She even showed up at the school to drop her daughter off on the first day of school, talking about, this is my daughter Nikki, and she's artistic, and she's wonderful, and she's fantabulous, and I want you to return her to me that way. She's telling this to the principal, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So she's doing great and wonderful, and then here come these drug niggas back in her life. So they're having some fundraiser at the church, or I guess they're feeding the homeless or something. So Wanda goes to take the trash out, and there goes the nigga that initially kicked her out the apartment, and he gives her this little baggie of crack. And she's just like fiending because she has an addiction, so it's hard for her to, well, before that happened, she was like writing poetry because she wants to be a writer. That's like her dream. If the drugs hadn't gotten in drugs and niggas hadn't gotten in the way. Because no, it wasn't just her, it was nigga. Like, if no nigga had walked into her life and she was able to flourish, she would have flourished. The nigga encouraged her to do the drugs. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, if no person with drugs had walked into her life, because it could have been a friend at this point, but I feel like because she's having these issues with niggas throughout the movie, that this was an issue she's had before, even the place where the movie started. So anyways, she is, she takes a little baggie of crack. But no, she was doing poetry. So before this, she was writing poetry in her apartment, and she was getting frustrated. And when you traumatized and stuff, you go 0 to 100 real quick. Like, you can't be uncomfortable. Like, nothing can like, you can't deal with uncomfortableness. You don't know how to regulate your emotions, no matter what little or big or medium thing is triggering you. So she getting frustrated because she can't write what she want to write or the way she want to write. So she started tearing up her little desk area, and then she flipped her little bag over, and there's a little weed roach in there. And when you are an addict specifically, even a little taste of a high, because weed ain't gonna do what cocaine and meth and all the other stuff does. So it's not necessarily a gateway drug per se, but it can be a gateway drug if you're an addict, because even a little taste of a high will make you want and fiend for that higher high that you've already had. So that's why, addicts who stay away from substances stay away from all substances, even marijuana. And so she smokes the little roach. It gives her a little bit of relief, but it's still not enough. And then, the whole situation at the church happened. Dude gave her a baggie of crack. And so, she don't do the crack yet. She just, I think she keeps it to the side or something. Or maybe she did do it. They didn't show her doing the crack. They just showed her pocketing the crack. She put the crack in her pocket. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. It's horrible. I'm not trying to make fun of addictions. It's just that, just the way she did the part, and and I'm sorry. I'm a horrible person. She should have played that part like that. Okay? I'm sorry. And so she takes the little baggie of crack, and she take it with her. And then she's just like, okay, life continues to go on. And so she's at the drag club watching Holiday's performance, and up and come Bubba Gump. His name is Silas in the movie. At some point during this recording, I didn't remember his name, so I called him Bubba Gump the whole movie. So at some point you'll hear me remember his name again for a second time. So his name is Silas. And Silas is a drug dealer, but Silas don't get high on his own supply. He doesn't date addicts, but for some reason he falls in love with Alfre Woodard's character. And I just feel like she's a magic pixie dream girl. That's what it is. She's artistic, she's weird, she's awkward, she's funny. She's all of those flamboyant, magical things that make niggas feel like this person's gonna change my life. And in reality, she has a lot of issues and she needs a lot of care and comfort and love and support, but you're not gonna see that part until it becomes an actual problem for you. But anyway, so he's also like in the very beginning he's a pure blue homophobe, and I'm just like, how are you homophobic but you're selling drugs at the drag club? I mean, do the gay men like the drugs a lot? Like, do you get a lot of customers there? But then you're homophobic though, so like you could be getting niggas that are white, they like cocaine. I'm wondering about the intentions of these niggas who are homophobic, but then they like, why are you at the gay club? Anyway, so he like tells Holiday to stay the fuck away from Nikki and from Wanda, and they're my family and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, what? And at first you think he's controlling and abusive and all this other stuff, but in reality, no, he actually really loves Nikki. He loves Wanda. He's just all breathing Wanda's air. It's just amazing. And I'm just like, so she can just pull these niggas around her who will just take care of her. And I don't want anybody that sells drugs because I'm not about that life. And I'm not ride or die, because that's not riding and dying for me. Like you are doing illegal things that put our family in danger. You're not riding and dying for me. Why should I ride and die for you? So, but the fact that he just had this really nice personality and really cared about her and then really cared about Nikki, and I'm just like, what the fuck? You found the nicest nigga in the hood. I don't understand. I can't even get a nigga to have a decent conversation. You start talking about things you like to do and places you like to travel, and all of a sudden they start dwindling and disappearing and shit in the conversation, and you're just like, I was just having a so you don't want to input anything? And then I just unmatched because they haven't said anything they haven't replied to my last message in like 2 days. So it is what it is. So yeah, he just really loves them. He goes and buys her a house. He goes for 2 weeks. This is when shit falls apart. When he goes for 2 weeks, before he leaves, he's having some argument with her. Like, Holiday hears, and he's having some argument with her about how he doesn't get high on his own supply and he doesn't date addicts. But it's just like, at some point you saw her doing your drugs, right? And then you saw her doing your drugs a lot, and you saw her being high more and more. Like, you just love her that much, like, to just go against your own, And I'm just like, I mean, do I have to be manipulative or trifling to get a nigga? Like, because I don't want to be, but it's like, look, them bitches get niggas. I'm just saying. But anyway, so he goes for 2 weeks to make a run, but really he's buying the house because he wanted to buy a house for Wanda and Nikki. You got a nigga buying you a house, girl. And she at her worst. She just basically disappeared into the streets during those 2 weeks. Is getting high, hanging out at crack houses, And during this time, Holiday is taking care of Nikki. Nikki was scared to tell him. He was about to go off to Paris, but he knew something was wrong. He couldn't leave that child. And thank you, Jesus, he didn't leave that little girl. He walked out of the airport and walked back up the stairs to his porch. Nikki was sitting there, and she like, my mom hasn't been here for 2 days. And then Holiday's like, well, why didn't you say anything? And she's like, I thought you hated us because we were so mean to you because Silas is homophobic or whatever. And so Holiday's just like, no, I don't feel that you're a child. Why should that matter to me? So he takes care of her like she's his own child. Like, he's taking her to school, he buys her new clothes, he's just loving up on her. He's there for her graduation. He's taking her out to dinner. He's just loving up on her and showing her that she deserves love. And, at some point she goes to graduation, and, Holiday then takes her out to dinner. During graduation, Wanda shows up. So they had been looking for Wanda. They couldn't find Wanda. anywhere. So, Wanda shows up at the graduation, but they don't see her. She's at the door. And so Nikki's reading this poem about finding a blessing and how her life is hard and it's horrible and shit. And Wanda hears her, and I guess that hurts Wanda's feelings. So she just goes out into the street and just starts having this emotional breakdown or some shit. And she's also high at the same time. So she's having an emotional breakdown while she's high. So everybody's looking at her like, oh, there's some crackhead in the street having a thing. And so it wasn't right that they were looking at her that way, but that's how it looked. And so I think it really just hurt Wanda, that to hear her daughter talk about feeling so lost and alone in the world. And it just makes her feel guilty. She doesn't know how to regulate her emotions. And so the only thing she knows to do is to get high. And so to hear something like that, like, what can you do? So Holiday takes Nikki out to dinner, and it was amazing because what happened was they even show in this movie, like, telling a child about being gay and the child understanding it and not like being weird about it. She's telling how easy it is for the children to understand the gayness. See, it's easy. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to comprehend. And so Nikki asked Holiday, she was just like, so, like, do you sleep with men? Just very bluntly, matter-of-factly, no judgment. Holiday's like, yes. And she's like, well, why does Silas, like, make it seem like, and Wanda make it seem like it's a bad thing? And, he's just like, well, they just don't like themselves. So that's what happens when people don't like themselves. And so she was like, okay, well, I don't mind that you're gay, and I love you, and you're the best ever, and, it was a lovely dinner. And this movie is before its time. And, it's upsetting that this didn't, like, it ain't got higher acclaim than what it actually has. You know what I mean? So anyways, they go back home and Wanda is there stealing things. Phone, electronics shit in the apartment. And, so that means she really going through it. Like, she just going through shit. Like, when you're an addict, it's like you turn into a whole different person. You like become like a zombie or some shit. Like, it's a whole different experience than, I can't even imagine going through that experience. Like, what is that? What is it's a whole illness. Like, the drugs do something and change you into a different person. It's like the people that be in the desert and they be talking about like how they don't have water and they basically will murder you over water. It's like starving to the point where like you would kill somebody for a piece of bread. Like, that's what drugs do. Like, you fiend to the point where you would kill somebody to get a little crack rock and shit like that. And so she just going through it. Like, she tried to steal Nikki's diamond necklace that Silas gave her for her birthday, and Holiday trying to stop her, but Nikki just like, she give her the necklace talking about, just here, take it, and she take it and run out the door, and Nikki just all distraught. She just like, my mom, like, she's been stealing from me since I was a kid. She stole my bike that she bought me. And, I just figured maybe if I didn't get anything, then she wouldn't steal from me. And then Holiday, Holiday is there trying to comfort Nikki, just letting her know, like, everything your mom does, that's not your fault. Like, you're not her and shit. Like, like Nikki trying to, like, test Holiday and things like that, and test herself by, Holiday found, I guess they're about to move, so Holiday bought them a house too. On top of everything, Holiday buys them a house. And in the picture too is Silas. So Silas comes back after the 2 weeks talking about how he bought a house for Nikki and Wanda. And then come back to find Wanda is selling herself on the street and doing drugs and all this stuff. So now he's distraught and he don't know what to do. So he's there to take care of Nikki too. So he there taking care of Nikki. Holiday taking care of Nikki. Nikki just got all these loving people around her, and I'm so glad that little girl got all that love. Whatever magical thing Wanda has to draw in decent people into her life, she drew in decent people to take care of her child when she couldn't, and it was magical and it was beautiful. And so, what was I saying? So Silas is there helping out and doing stuff too, and Holiday buys a house. And He buys a house for him and Nikki. And the thing is with Silas, it was weird because it was like I don't know if I was just like, are they flirting with each other, him and Holiday, or like, because they got really friendly with each other and like they liked each other and enjoyed each other's company and like basically they became family. But like I don't know if Holiday is just, his personality type is just flirty, or if he genuinely likes Silas, because he was crying when Silas had to leave again later on and shit. But we'll get to that. But like, he genuinely cared about Silas, and he was upset that Silas was leaving. So I don't know if how they like Silas like that, or if they were just close like family or whatever. But Holiday was just like distraught when that nigga was about to leave. So I don't know. But I just like that they were able to show like a assumingly straight man with a gay man, and they basically became two dads together and became family, and to take care of this little black girl. And I just thought that was the most beautiful thing in the whole wide world. Yes, it was magical. So he buys the house. Nikki trying to test him. Comes back one day while they're packing up for the house, finds her in the apartment where Wanda was. And she on the couch with this little boy. They about to, do little children sexual things. And so how they tell the little boy to leave? And he looking at Nikki like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so Nikki just like, you don't care, little teenager shit. And so Holiday like, you better stop and listen to me. And he slapped her in the face and stuff. And then he felt really bad and he was apologizing. But then he was like, why should I be I should whoop your ass, all the things I've done for you. And so he shouldn't have hit her in the face. But, he did do a lot of shit for her. So she needed to get her shit together and stuff. Whatever's going on with her, she needs to talk about it instead of just acting out. But she's a child, so Holiday needs to guide her into talking about those things and not slap her in the face. See how we both need things that we got to work on. So Holiday goes and talks to Blue, and Blue suggests that Holiday get down on Nikki's level. Like, she been doing a lot of shit, and she probably is seeing her mom and herself and all this other stuff. So Holiday comes back to Nikki. It's beautiful how they illustrate this gentle parenting that he does, where he basically takes Nikki to the mirror, tells her to look in the mirror, and was like, you are not your mother. You are not her. You are you. And every time you look in the mirror, I want you to see yourself and not her. And Nikki, in a fit of emotion and, grief and rage, breaks the mirror. And Holiday understands, because I would have got my ass. I don't care what the reason was. If I broke the fucking mirror, I would have got my ass beat. Oh, fuck, you didn't break that mirror. I was just like, wow, this is the year 2000 and they're showing gentle parenting. Who decided that he play this character like that? Did he decide to play this character like this? Was he being directed to play this character like this? Because I just feel like so anyways, they stand in the mirror. And he just is like, you was holding that in for a long time, wasn't you? Like, he's just very understanding and caring. So you got to understand that children are people and they do things for reasons. And if you get on their level and just talk to them, they will tell you the fucking reason. And then you can work through the reason so the shit that they were doing doesn't happen again. Okay, your child is 3 and they're throwing their food on the floor, and instead of screaming at them, you get on their level and you just be like, why are you throwing the food on the floor? And they'll probably say some shit like, I'm trying to feed the bugs, or the cat, or the dog. And then you can just say some shit like, dogs don't eat that food, it could kill them. And that's why we don't throw food on the floor, because we could kill the dog. And then there you go, because you ain't supposed to be feeding animals people food like that, because they give them high cholesterol and shit. Like, my cat, I only give her people food occasionally, because cats are so small that if they get fat, they get the high cholesterol and the diabetes and all of the things, and then they die quick because their bodies can't manage that for years and decades and long periods of time. So, and then they stop, most likely because you've told them that they'll kill the animals if they do. You gotta come up with a reason. That's all I'm saying. Like, it ain't gotta be a reason to scare the child, but it gotta make sense to the child. Okay, that's all I'm saying. The child is doing the shit for a reason. They may just be mad. I'm mad. Okay, that's understandable that you're mad, but can you tell me and use your words instead of like throwing your toys? Because when you throw your toys, you're mad, and then now you have a broken toy, which is making you madder. So it's not going to make the mad go away, it's just going to make the mad get bigger. And they understand. They get it. They get it. And so, how do they got on her level instead of being like spanky and hurty and things? And it was magical before its time, before its fucking time. So anyways, Silas is hanging around, and he picks up Nikki from school one day, and Nikki going through it because this is like after her mom has come and stolen her shit, and after having a meltdown with Holiday, and just feeling all sorts of verklempt and all sorts of messed up. And so Silas picks her up in his limo. I guess he's also a driver. He deals drugs and he drives limos, because we never really explained the limo, but I guess he drives limos too. You have to have multiple jobs in this America of today because inflation and shit, because they don't want to give us things that are priced normally. Even in 2000, shit was just, so he had to have multiple jobs. That's probably just how he laundered his money. Never mind. Let me shut the fuck. That's how he laundered his money as a limo driver. There you go. And so he picks up Nikki, and he's telling her how he has to make another run for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks or some shit. He doesn't know when he's going to come back. And Nikki's that's just another veil over the sadness on top of everything else. So she's like, whatever. And he's like, do you want me to take you home? I'm going to take you back to Holidays, and I'm got to go do this thing, and then I'll see you later on this evening. And she's just like, can I just ride? I just want to ride with you. And I'm just like, it was a mistake, because you grow up in that environment, and kids are also in that environment selling drugs and doing stuff. So you don't really think that far ahead when you haven't been a parent to a teenager for a long period of time. So I could see how it was a mistake. He expected her to stay in the car too, like you taking her to some dirty ass part of the, with weird people that could do anything and snatch her up and shit like that. And you expected her to stay in the car when her mom is still around in this area. And she knows this area enough to, I guess, find her, because she finds her. She gets out of the car and she goes to the trap house, and she finds her mom sucking the penis about to suck the penis of this white man. And I'm just like, this white man is there in a nice suit, and he's dressed nice, he looks clean, and he's on top of this soiled mattress in this dirty house, trap house, crack house, whatever we're calling it now. It was crack house in my childhood. Today I guess they call it the trap house. I don't know what the wording for it is. And I'm just looking at this clean white man in this dirty place on this pee and male body fluid soiled mattress, and I'm just like, is it a fetish? Is it because you look like you could afford a prostitute, sex worker person that you could just like, it's a little bit cleaner, put together, that you could just like take to a nice hotel or even in your car. And I'm just wondering, like, is this like a fetish? Like, I want to have the nastiest sex that I can have, and I just am, so happy by this. And I'm just like, maybe it is a fetish, because people be having fetishes. It was going around Facebook a few years ago. It was like, how people have like really fucked up feet, and like they had corns, and it was weird and shit. And people were like posting these videos on Facebook, and then people would comment underneath and be like, no, this is a fetish. People are like into fucked up feet. And I'm just like, that's nasty. I mean, I'm not trying to kink shame because if you like what you like, but it's like any kind of kink that involves some kind of sickness, illness, infection, physically self-harming yourself to where it will last forever, like those people that like to cut off their limbs because their fetish is to be limbless. Why? Why? You're gonna put this rotten foot in your mouth and probably end up with some kind of mouth infection or bodily infection from this rotten foot. It's like Shaq's feet. I be thinking about that. I just be like, he always like to be posting his feet like it's funny. And I just be like, imagine a 7-foot man weighing however many, 300 pounds. He's a big man, so I'm gonna go up to 300 because, he's a tall man with a lot of muscle. And, your big toe is over your index toe like this. And you're walking, and then the other toes are kind of like this. And then there's like corns and bunions and all sorts of hammerness and things to it. And then you're walking all of that weight on each foot like this. And I'm just like, that looks like it hurts a lot every day to walk. And that made me that's one of the things that made me start wearing them barefoot shoes, them toe shoes and shit. Y'all need to get up on top of that shit. That shit help my balance. I know it sound like them white people that be wearing them toe shoes. I don't give a fuck. That shit help my balance. It reshaped my foot to where like it's like the toes spread out and is firmer on the ground instead of the pointedness that, regular shoes do and shit. And I just feel like I have the most healthiest feet in all the land. It's magical. Help my posture, help my hips, because my hips was fucked up. I got scoliosis and shit. Helped everything. And I just like, every time I see Shaq, I just be praying for him. I be like, your feet hurt today, don't it? I know that toe that's over the other toe. I know that hurt. I know you want to sit down. You want to sit down and, maybe you want a bucket of ice or something. Cause I just want him to be sitting with a bucket of ice when he's working. I hope that when he works and does what he does, he just sits with his feet gently in a bucket of ice. You know what I mean? It looks like it hurts. And yeah, I don't know how we got to this. Oh, because this white man, I believe, has a fetish. Like, why would you want to fuck it? Like, he looked like he had money. He had on a nice suit, clean. Why would you want to? Like, so her mom is about to suck this white man's dick on his dirty, soiled PP mattress, looking dirty herself. And I'm just like, 12-hour days and the same and all of, ew. I just commend actors and actresses for going above and beyond to entertain us as a mass, like, because that's some bullshit, and I'm sure they enjoy it, because art, when you're like really into your art, you enjoy the shit, even the struggles, the trials, the tribulations. But I'm not doing that. I just cringe every time I see some weird ass scene in a movie, and I just be like, I wonder how many takes that took. I wonder if they got to take breaks. I hope they got some water, so a little snack. I hope they got to at least like take a break for a day and take a shower and, lay in a jacuzzi and get a massage before they had to go in for another 12 hours of, wearing the prosthesis from, whatchamacallit? The Grinch. Like, I saw Jim Carrey put that fucking contact in his eye that covered his old eyeball, and him go, oh, I have to wear these for 12 hours. They are excruciatingly painful, but for the art, imagine that. Imagine having a contact that covers your, like, you're not into it. You're not a cosplayer. You're not used to it. You're just asked to do that out of the blue because this is what your character needs. And this is like, you've never done some shit like that, but you do it. And 12-hour days. So, I'm not making fun of these people. I commend them. I don't know how they pull the whatever up out of them to be in scenes like that for 12 hours. For 6 months out the whole fucking year. It's like going to war. Like, I'm not mad that they're rich. Like, when you have a product. See, this is the thing. People want teachers to get paid as much as like famous people or sports players, and they should get paid as much. But the government needs to pay them the money. They have to pull the money from wars and things and whatever stupid shit and give them that amount of money Famous people and sports players get money from consumers that buy their tickets and watch their movies. And so they get the money from us that we give them. And so no one has to really like, the government doesn't have to like do anything. Like, no, like we're the people that give the monies straight to the people. See? But the government would have to be the ones to take our tax money and give it to the teachers. And they don't want to do that. We'll gladly pay for a baseball game or a movie, go to the movies. Just entertainment. So that's what they're banking on. But the government is not going to gladly give these teachers $200,000 a year each. Because they're selfish. So I don't know how they're going to get the monies to survive and live in the worlds, and as they should, because the government is selfish. See, that's why when people say that, I just be thinking that every time, like, the government's selfish. Like, we just freely give our money for entertainment. Like, that's why these people are rich. Like, it's literally like going to war for half the year. Like, it's physically taxing. I was watching the Blue's Clues movie with the new guy, the Filipino guy, and I was just looking at his calves and how strong and muscular they are. And then I watched what he was actually doing in the movie. Like, in the movie, this nigga is athletic. He running around and jumping on shit and all happy, and he makes it look smooth, like it's just a part of the movie. Like, hey, Blue, can I ask you a question? Then he run to Blue. Then he run back to the camera. Then he run to Blue. And I'm just like, this nigga gotta be constantly doing little mini sprints all day to appear hyper and happy, as well as doing whole dance routines. I'm just like, that sounds like hell. I mean, some people like working out, though. Some people like it. So, more power to them. Just, she was on the pee-pee mat. I know it wasn't real soiled body fluids, but still, like, I'm sure she had to stay up in that smelly place for like 12 hours a day. I don't care. So she did that. They all did that, but she did it. So let me get back to the movie. I'm rambling. Anyways, wait a minute. Anyways, Nikki walk up in the crack house, the trap house, whatever we're calling it nowadays, because it used to be the crack house back in the day. Now it's the trap house. I don't know what the newfangled Generation Zers are calling it, But she walked up there and see her mom on her knees. And I guess the other drug dealer, the light-skinned nigga, he's just like, who is this? And so I guess he's like a whole pedophile, because he wants Wanda to pay for her drugs, because the white dude got freaked out when a child walked in. As he should. I was just, this is what you should be bothered by, and you were. And he got the fuck out. He said, oh, is this a child? Because you wouldn't expect it. You wouldn't expect, sad but true. You wouldn't expect him. So he runs because of the child is in the crack house with the prostitute, about to watch him get his dick sucked. So he's just like, and then he's like, Mom, because she's like, Mama, don't, Mama, stop. And the white dude's just like, Mom. He looks at him. And he looks at him. And Audrey on the floor. And he looks at this child. He's like, oh, hell. Get the fuck about that bitch. He said, oh, Lord, it was refreshing. He's like, yeah, I'll pay for a prostitute in the crack house on a PP soiled mattress. I will have this woman suck my dick and possibly get all sorts of STDs, but I draw the line at children. Yes. Wait. So he leaves. And she's just like, Mama, no. Mama, don't. And the light-skinned nigga's mad because the dude left and he was supposed to pay her so she could pay him for the drugs. And so he's like, you could pay me for the drugs with her. And he's like a whole pedophile or whatever. And I was just like, no, no, no. And then he pulls out this baggie of crack. I'm sorry. It's just the way I said it. I'm sorry. My fingers. That's how he was. It's fine. It'll be okay. It's fine. So he has the baggie of lit crack. And he's like, are you sure you don't want me to be a pedophile? It's fine. And she's just looking at the crack. And then looking at her child. And then looking at the crack. And you just see the desperation, because this is what drugs do to you. I don't know. I've never been in that position, because fiending is not just psychological. It is also chemical. And so whatever she was feeling was also physical. And so, it makes you lose your senses. Like, if you like just depressed and that's all you still in your right mind. If you just anxious and that's all you still in your right mind to make a choice, even though the anxiety is overwhelming, you still enough in your right mind to make a choice that would be better than not letting your child be pedophiled on. So, but with drugs, I'd never experienced that situation of being an addict. And so I can't necessarily say she was in her right mind enough to be like, she's a horrible mother. All I can really say is she got a drug problem, so anything can happen. Like, you sell your child for the crack, and she looking at the crack, and she looking at her child, then she looking at the crack, and she looking at her child, and she goes, Nikki. Just like, Alfrey, whatever her name is, Audrey, Alfrey, what are you doing? I really wanted her to not do it, because then I was just like, well, we were drawing superhero versions of us on the wall. What happened? It's like it turned you into a zombie. I remember when I was in my 20s, and me and some friends were in like a car, and we were supposed to go to this party at the Compton Projects. We were in our early 20s. I used to be on the party line with my friends. This is hotline you call and random people, just random strangers. We could have been murdered. Like, we just lived not as freely as they did in the 70s, because them niggas was hitchhiking and they were actually getting murdered. But we lived a little freer when you didn't have the internet. You had to find entertainment. Okay, you had to go out the world and find the you got to go outside and find the socializing. So we were rolling around the Compton Projects. No one had the right address. And we were just like, it was night, it was dark. And we were just like, where are we? So we stopped at some little cul-de-sac of the projects. And we was looking at the MapQuest. Yes, we had to print out the address. And we was looking at the MapQuest and just trying to figure out where we turned wrong. And we look up and we see about 3 or 4 people in the dark. I'm sorry. They were just shuffling toward us in the dark like zombies, and then we got a clear look and it was crackheads, and we was just like, oh shit, let's get the fuck up out of here. We left and we didn't go to a party that night. When we did shit, and we didn't know, like, that's how it do. That's how the drugs be. It makes you a whole fucking zombie. Like, literally, like, you just turn into some other shit when you have an addiction. So, I don't know, because like that's also saying, like, what if you're an addict, but like you never like molested your child, but then you did a drug and you was an addict and you molested your child, like, cause I was calling that person a piece of shit. Like, so I don't know, She was drawing on the wall, like, and doing happy things for like a whole smooth year. And so I just keep comparing that to what she became. And I'm just like, is it just the drugs? Because when she's sober, she a whole different bitch. And she's this magical black woman. And I just, you see why you show me that part? Because if you just showed me her as a crackhead, then I could just be like, see, it makes it a conundrum. You know, but then at the same situation, if I saw that parent was a decent parent and then they got went back into their addiction and molested their child, like, but then I would think, like, if you was a child molester, like, what would you gain? You know what I mean? Like, that was for the drugs. So, like, if you was just that, you would have been that when you were sober, because that has nothing to do with drugs. See, there you go. I made it make sense. Made it make sense, bitch. Because she was doing it for the drugs, and it always was about the drugs and niggas. A child molester, how is that connected to your addiction? How is that connected? So, like, you're not doing this to get high. So that means that was already in you. Child abuse, whatever the fuck you are. Because you're not doing it to get high. Like, you're just doing it, like, for no reason. You know, so there you go. I made that shit make sense. See, that's why I'm going to give that shit to her. Because it was for the drugs. I'm not going to give it to her like she was right. I'm just going to say that a lot of that, she was a whole different bitch. And when he waved them crack rocks in her face like that, that's all she saw was the crack. And she didn't see her child. It was like a blur over there. Like, you know, maybe if she just, like, this is a thought pattern. I feel it. This is a thought pattern. She's looking at her child like, you know, maybe if she just, like, let him kiss her on the cheek. He may not be a rapist. You know, he may just want a hug. And then, you know, I'll smoke this real quick. And as he's doing what he's doing, I will bust him over the head and we'll run up out of here. That's what it was. See? You know what? See? Bitch. I'm a smart hoe. So, she asked this child to let him kiss her on the cheek. They just let him kiss you. And Dickie's just horrified. She's just, what? Like, the bitch is a whole different bitch. And so she runs up out that bitch. And she's just like, you know what? Fuck all this. Fuck all of this. You tried to sell me to some nigga. And she end up at the police station. Silas come get her. And Silas feeling bad. He's just like, I'm just going to disappear because I'm obviously not a good dad. And I just let her. And then, you know, Holiday is distraught because I don't know if he likes Silas like that a little bit or if that's just his friend. It's never, you know, fleshed out. But, you know, I'm not going to guess because it could be either or at this point. And so he's just distraught, but Silas like, I can't, you know, because she almost could have been murdered or raped or some shit on my watch. And I'm just like, nigga, all you had to do was tell her no. Like, she's you act like it's some complicated shit. Like, I didn't know to tell her no. Well, now you do, and she's alive. And so it is what it is. It's gonna happen as a parent. You're gonna make mistakes. Now, that's some shit that you shouldn't have brought her there. That's some obvious shit. But you know what? That nigga's a good dad. He cares. It's just, you can't bring, why would you bring a child around your business when you know your business is illegal? They're going to come after her one day. Watch. They'll come after that child. Keep hanging around her. I can see why you want to disappear and shit. You know? Shit, that's going to be the bitch that gets murdered because that's why I can't be around them people. I can't do it. You ain't about to have me over here some what is it? Revenge murder and shit. You got me fucked up. God bless it. Oh shit. So he bounced. And then, you know, Nikki is chilling, you know, she going in and out of depression or whatever. And I guess they planning. And then Christmas come around. And so it's Christmas again, you know, because this is a holiday movie. It's called Holiday Heart. So I don't care. We're going to do this just like they do that one movie with Bruce Willis. Because it's made at Christmas. So Christmas comes around. And, they're going to plan to go to Paris. Holiday's going to take her. It's going to be magical. And Holiday buys a house. That's what happened. Holiday bought a house for Nikki and him to live in. And it's going to be magical and shit like that. So anyways, Holiday is, and they're also going to Paris. And so Holiday is at the club, talking and shit. Finds out Blue found some farmer. It's this white dude and shit. And he going to be like milking cows and doing random shit. So he chilling. And then when Holiday's about to leave the club, there come Wanda. She's just looking all, she been through life, and life has been through her, and she just is going through the things, and she ready to come home, and Holiday door always open. So apparently Holiday saw his mom get beat, and one day he got tired of watching his mom get beat. So he killed the nigga that beat her. And of course, she had pick-meism too, to an extreme point, because you would see her 16-year-old son in jail with grown-ass men. She calls the police on him, and he goes to jail, and he's 16 years old, and he, gets abused sexually by the grown men in the prison. And, so he has a lot of trauma, but he, his thing is he's helping and fixing it because that's where he came from. He also describes himself as like an old school gay, because I guess one night he takes Nikki out to dinner, and, I think it was after the speech she did for her graduation, and she was just asking him questions like, are you gay? Do you like have sex with men? And he was like, yeah, dude. He was just, honestly, this is a simple conversation you have with the children. And then he even showed that. They even showed that he was trying to show y'all that you can just talk to the children and the children will understand. Look at 2000. And we just laughed this movie. This movie was like before our time, people. It was Howard Townsend or something that made it like, And she was just like, I love you anyways, and da-da-da. And she asked him if he went to parades and shit. And he was like, no, honey, I leave that to the youngins and shit, because I'm out, but I'm private. I don't need to be all loud and flamboyant and whatever. And I felt it. That's like me saying, like, go to the club at 9:00 at night and it's like cold and shit. Oh, like, I'm not doing that. That's for them young people. I'm about to be standing out there. It's cold. Why can't I sit at home on a couch with a blanket and watch TV and eat and sleep? Like, why take hot showers? Why do I need to? Like, I felt it. Like, being half naked in the middle of the street with a bunch of makeup and music on. Like, you just start to sweat. Ain't it hot? Ain't that leather hot? Is the wind cold on your skin? Like, don't you feel exposed to the elements? But, I don't judge you. I feel like my body is different than other people's bodies. So, do you, boo. Do you. But, like, I felt it when he said that. Just like I felt it when whatchamacallit got killed off of Black Panther. She is 60-something years old. Y'all expect her to be just doing these acrobatics. What, till she 80? Like, yes, she's very toned, but you have to relax a lot and rest a lot and take care of your body in a respectful way a lot for that to stay. So, I feel it. Like, so. But I liked the whole conversation because she was like, I don't care if you're gay. I love you anyways. It was just like, she was just curious. She's just like, well, why didn't they like it? Like, my mom and Silas made it seem bad and da-da-da-da-da-da. And Holiday was just like, well, some people just don't like themselves, so fuck them. And they projected on other people. I don't fucking know. And she was just like, oh, okay, well, I think like, who? 2000, these black people that are like semi-famous, like Alfred Woodard and Ving Rhames are still like semi-famous and shit. Like, the next year he did Baby Boy. So, And Alfre Woodard is just like, she black royalty and shit. Like, so we have this movie with these famous people talking to this child about being gay in respectful, positive ways in the year 2000. Y'all need to watch this fucking movie. This is magical. Anyways, so Holiday's at the club and he's about to leave. And here come, and like I said, he wants to help her. He's just, a fixer, and he cares, and he wants to show, and he wants her to heal. And so apparently she sold the bike that she got Nikki when she was younger, when they were living in the shelter. And it looked just like the bike Holiday got Nikki. And so Holiday told her he would tell Nikki that it came from her mama. And so, Wanda's like, cool. So Holiday goes to get his check so that he can leave the club. And while he's getting his check, Wanda gonna roll the bike to Holiday's car. And so she rolling the bike to, this is all in the same neighborhood. Everybody's right around the corner from each other. Because I was just like, why these niggas just be popping up? This nigga was behind. Like, why are you hanging out at the gay club is what I want to know. Like, why are you right behind the gay club? Like, all these niggas just hanging around the gay club. Like, I just want to know, like, are we unaware that we may be semi-attracted? Are we, what's happening here? Like, and it's okay. Like, because they're homophobic as well. Like, that's why. If they were just like regular and nice and whatever, but no, they're homophobic on top. But you're hanging out, like Silas was selling drugs at the gay club at the. Okay. Whatever, nigga. But you gonna call this nigga names and shit and hold a gun on him? Okay. But you're at the gay club. Okay, Silas. Maybe he owned it. Did he own it? I don't fucking know. Why do you own a gay club but then you're a homophobic? See, like, I don't. Either way, it's bad. So this nigga is behind the light-skinned drug dealer that's a pedophile. Is behind the club or whatever, and he see her willing to bike, so he gonna come up and take the bike. I'm just like, and he tell his boys, get this bike, and he gets. Why are you taking her bike? And she just mumbling to herself on the way out, I got the bike. She was so happy though. She was so happy. Like, she felt her life was going to change again. And these motherfucking niggas, yet again, have come to take her shit away. And it's not fair. She should have had a long life. She should have healed. She should have went to rehab and would have been happy. Holiday would have paid for her to go to some fancy-ass rehab because that's the type of nigga he is. And it would have been magical. But no. Instead, this nigga tried to take her fucking bike. Holiday come out and beat his ass. And they about to put the bike in the car. I don't know why you grew up in the hood. Why you turning your back on these niggas? They went to go put the bike in the car. They turned their back on this nigga while this nigga was on the ground. Like, if you've learned anything, you got to double tap, nigga. Like, why would you just... I would have walked backwards. I'd have been like, oh, no, we're not about to... Oh, he's about to hit us with the car. I'm about to dodge this motherfucker something. Oh my gosh. It's not funny. It's just, I just want it better. And so Holiday is getting in the car with and the way they're positioned, it looked like that nigga could have hit both of them with his car. But apparently only Wanda gets hit by the car. And they made it like, they was like, because I thought, because the way she worded it, because Nikki was doing the little ending montage, the little ending, words and shit. And she was saying how I buried you next to Frankie and and I think, wasn't that the husband? And I was like, I thought that was Holiday's husband. And I thought, oh, did Holiday die? Because I haven't seen this movie since like when it came out. But no, they pan up and Holiday's standing next to her. And they standing over Wanda's grave. And it's just horrible. And I just feel like she deserved more than that. She was a warrior woman. And the world just ate her soul away. And I know you, but you know how hard it is to fight against yourself and how easy it is to just give in to bullshit because it's easier. Like, not everybody's that strong. Like Like not everybody wants, like, 'cause this is literally maintenance every fucking day of being mindful of your traumas and triggers and emotions, and eventually, it can become like a knee jerk reaction to just get used to doing that shit. But like, to get to the knee jerk reaction, it takes it's like it takes. And so I just feel bad for the ones of us that just can't make it. They just will not make it. And it's just so frustrating. She was writing books. She was a warrior woman. She got a job. This nigga came along selling drugs and being homophobic and shit and fucking up this shit. It's like, you like, as soon as she started doing your drugs, you should have known and left. Like, the fuck? I'm tired. No, but you stayed. You stayed knowing that you were enabling her. I'm sure she begged and whatever the fuck, but no, still, you should have left. I'm tired. Two toxic people just got together and it was wrong. And the nigga is like, he's not a bad person. He was just like, he just had deficits. And that deficit did not fit with her deficit. You know what I mean? Like, she had so much potential, and it's making me upset. She was such a, like, they did a whole part where they showed how good of a mom she was. They fucking laid all the sugary sweets on that motherfucking, and just for her to turn into this weird ass monster during the course of the movie. I'm just like, wow. I feel bad. Like, she was so... She played this part, because I feel emotional right now. Like, it's not fair, okay? It's not fucking fair. You either painted the room to make it look all magical and shit in that motherfucker. And then I was just like, so now, like, are they going to let someone else move in over there and then paint over the room? And, like, her mom is dead, and they're just going to take a picture of it so she can keep the pictures. And it's like, that's so ugly, though. They just give her the apartment until, like, she buys a house with her future, like, partner or whatever, or some shit. Oh, I'm just so upset. I'm bothered. She was such a good mother. Like, they were so happy. Like, she even read the principal when she got to school. She was like, and she's smart. My child Nikki is smart, and she's a smart, happy, wonderful, imaginative girl. And I want you to return her to me that way at the end of school. And I was just like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. And now you just gonna let this man kiss her on the cheek? Like, I don't care what the thought process was, girl. You fucked up. You fucked up. Like, no. I mean, she could have returned from it, but it still would have been like some shit that would have just added to, like, all the other traumas that she'd been through. It would have been even harder. Like, oh no, I almost did that. Like, and that would just keep going through her mind. Even if her child forgives her, it's still something that just stays there. Like, oh, I literally almost let my child get, and I don't think she would have been strong enough to just have that thought in her mind sober for the rest of her life. I don't know, because she had so much potential. That was Holiday Heart, y'all. What did you think? I liked the movie. I think everybody needs to sit up and watch this movie. It's a good movie. And, it'll teach you a lot about how to be a decent human being. But also, don't people please, because it's unhealthy. But sometimes you can sacrifice and people please. See how life has a lot of outliers? It's about risk and rewards. You have to figure out the risk and rewards of this situation. So I sacrificed myself to this situation, even though, like, it's not something that I usually do, because I know this person isn't going to take advantage of that. There you go. Isn't going to keep, like, up this weird ass pattern where I constantly have to do this. There you go. And so it's okay sometimes to, like, people please and, like, overly try to fix something. Just occasionally, though. Not like all the fucking time or every week. Just like Janine on Abbott Elementary. Girl, just the thought of that. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to offer to do some shit that nobody needs and then break it. It's chaos. The bitch is chaos. Get the therapy, smooth the edges. She'll be fine. Well, anyways, that was my review of Holiday Heart circa 2000, the year 2000. And I hope you enjoyed, and like, share, subscribe, and I don't know. Yes, because people need the monies. I wish you monies. I wish myself monies. And the more like, share, subscribes I get, I'll make more monies to like travel and maybe one day buy a house and be comfortable in the world so that I can have a cushion to racism and sexism and misogynoir. Yes, because that's what money does. It gives you a cushion against all the bullshit that you have to experience when you socialize. And your friends and family that you're close to do that too. There you go. So, hope you enjoyed. Later days.